few hours, minutes. And yeah, I'm back. I'm here. And we are talking something very interesting because we all know that the 16 days of activism against violence against women and children has started. And yeah, we saw the latest crime stats that came out, and they look a bit disturbing. Not a bit, but they're disturbing. Crime is disturbing in this country, especially when it's towards women and children. And today we are joined by our we're joined by Mr. Makashule Gana from Rise Mzansi, who's the Assembly Caucus from the National Assembly Caucus Group. And we'll be touching a lot on the latest crime stats that has been given out to the public. And especially the numbers have tripled when it comes to rape and murder and violence towards people. We've seen, especially in social media and all police reports, that violence has been taken up due to so many reasons. And today we'll be diverging into it. So without wasting time, let me welcome Mr. Makashule to Central News and Current 50. How are you, sir?
Good morning, and good morning to your viewers. Thanks for having us.
Can you give us one overview? Freedom from Far, a plan. It's an initiative that is inspired by Rise Mzansi. And when it comes to also crime stats, can you give us your take on that one?
So, the where it comes from is that most South Africans, including myself, and most likely including you, we don't feel safe. Crime is rampant, and we wanted to make an intervention in terms of some of the things that we believe needs to be done in order to change the culture of criminality in society, and some of the proposals relate to the number of investigators or detectives that are employed within the police, the focus in terms of the incidents or the cases of rape, so that the perpetrators are arrested and prosecuted. You need a strong case. You need a strong investigator to get the case to be prosecutable, working together with the community and civil society. It's some of the interventions that we were placed on the table, and it's something that even when we interact with the minister and the National Commissioner of Police tomorrow, we will go in, like as it relates to the statistics themselves. There's you need to look at the statistics. So the method that is used at the moment, it's to compare year on year. And what do I mean by that is that you compare this quarter, the period July to September, with the period July to September next year. And then you say, all right, what are the trends, or what is this showing me? And if you were to look at that, it shows that there has been a bit of a decrease. But then if you look at what the period 1st of April until 30 September, so the first 6 months of the year, then it tells a different story. So it's important when we look at the crime statistics to not only present or take the statistics at face value. There's the duty on us as members of parliament, the duty on the media to tell the full story. And it is our point that the crime stats are not telling the full picture, or the people interpreting the crime stats are not telling the full picture.
And if you unpack it, you mentioned the part that there was a bit of a decrease, but if we have to unpack the latest quarter stats, where are we standing?
So I look at the stats, as I said, in two ways. So the stats at the moment, they're presenting a picture in one way. And if you only consider what the police have given, then there's a positive movement, or there's a decrease insofar as the murders, insofar as the rapes. And I focus on those two because those are it's crime against humans, and so it's contact crime, and it's the most insofar as contact crime, and you can even go to the issues of attempted murder and assault, GPH, but I focus primarily on murder and rape to illustrate the point that at times when we look at the statistics, we are not focusing on all the sides to inform South Africans. So if you look at the period since Senzo Mkone became the police minister, then you see murder going up, you see rape going up, which speaks to let's say within the year we are not winning the battle, against crime and criminality. There needs to be a lot more focus, and those are the points that in our interaction tomorrow I will be pushing a lot more, and I think later on today I will, if I get a time, I will do a thread so that people understand what I'm raising, or because sometimes when you don't show in numbers what you are saying, people might not get to see the impact that one is talking about.
But Mr. Gani, I'm gonna ask you this question. Earlier, you mentioned how the stats went down a bit, but now you just touched on the fact that ever since there's a new minister, Mr. Senzo Mchunu, the numbers have gone up. So do we tie the statistics to a particular leadership, or is it some form of, is there something that actually that sparked the numbers to go up during this particular period?
Let me give you an illustration of what I'm saying. Maybe you'll understand. So between 1 April and 30 June, there were 6,190 people who were murdered. 1 July to 30 September, there are 6,545 people who were murdered. So the number of people who were murdered for the two periods, it has gone up. That's what I'm talking about. So that's one half of the story. And because statistics sometimes are presented in a way that only tells one story, if you look at the other story that then looks to say, last year, July, compared to 2024 July, how are we doing? Last year, there were 7,000 people who were killed. And this year, 6,500. And then someone says, I know, we are seeing a decrease. And I'm arguing differently to say, no, let's tell the full story. Let's not tell half the story. If you tell the full story, then you are saying, in this year, whilst there are less people that have been killed in the last 3 months compared to the same period last year, there are still more people that are killed since 1 April, and that's how you need to analyze the statistics, which I feel both in terms of the media, but also some analysts, they are missing that point, and that's the point that I'm going to be arguing tomorrow, so that going forward, you get to know year to date. So let me give you an instance. When you buy bread, as an example, and they say the price of bread has increased, you compare it to the last month. How much was bread last month? You don't say, no, how much was bread last year in November? You say last month, how much was bread? How much did it go up by? Or the taxi fare. It's how you look at whether the price is increasing or not. So it's the same concept that one needs to introduce to the statistics so that people can get the full picture.
Okay. Since we're focusing more on murder, there should be contributing factors towards a certain number. There should be contributing factors towards an increasing or a decreasing number, especially when it comes to issues of murder. Now,
Mm,
if we have to go deeper into it and analyze it even further, what would be those contributing factors? For example, you find murder cases in a cash in transit, in a house
mm,
robbery, in planned murders, assassinations, and all that. So when you look at these stats, which
mm.
factor is contributing the most?
So what we are seeing, especially in the last 3 months, we've had incidents of mass murders. We've had mass murders in Lusikisiki, we've had mass murders in Orange Farm, we've had mass murders in KZN. So we are starting to see instances of where 3 or more people are killed. Like in at the go. That's one of the issues. But like if one looks at the some of the most of the murders, they result from arguments. So it's not so much that you have what you were calling assassinations or targeted killings. A lot more of the killings that have been reported and investigated are people arguing about something. It could be road rage. Road rage contributes. Actually, we are losing people from road rage, when someone did not stop or someone did not yield, and then get killed. We are also starting to see, insofar as killings during robberies. So that contributes, and I think you mentioned the issues around hijackings. So when they are hijacking a car, then they kill the car driver. So these are some of the areas that are contributing to these numbers, but majority of them, it's out of arguments. So you don't wake up and say, no, I'm going to argue with Makashule Gana today. But in the course of an argument, and then you then pull out your gun, and then you kill me because we don't agree. And it's something that when the police come tomorrow, because they haven't briefed us as a portfolio committee. They are coming tomorrow. These are some of the things that we need to interrogate. So for instance, there were over 280 people that were killed in shebeens or taverns. So
Okay.
these are people that are arguing about something, because they are drunk, and then either people getting stabbed, people pulling out guns. So these are the societal issues that we need to look at.
Again, tell me something. Do you think South Africa, especially when it comes to law enforcement, do
Mm.
we have the necessary skilled, equipped for this particular role? Because murder is a complex crime situation that needs proper skilled people to investigate. And if we look at it in a sense, our majority of our law enforcement, especially when it comes to the detectives, there's issues around resources, they are underpaid, a lot it's been expected for them. Also, there are also instances where we don't have enough manpower when it comes to such. So Lona is rising in terms of these particular barriers that are actually contributing towards the crime state. How are you guys planning to actually solve this situation, if I may
So
put it
you are
that way?
correct. So you are correct in terms of not adequate resources concerned. Our majority of our detectives, especially in the murder robbery unit, they deal with a lot of cases. They are overworked, and there are not enough detectives. So one of the things that we have made the proposal, it's to reduce, let's call it the budget of the VIP protection, and use those savings to train and employ. Because you see, a detective is not, you won't get a good detective off the street. You need to invest in development, but also attracting other detectives that have left the police service for other employment opportunities, either in the private security or in the banking sector and other sectors. So those are the proposals that we have made insofar as the capacitating the detective service is concerned, because it's not enough to just arrest someone. It's not enough. When people now, and at the moment, people feel that even if they get arrested, they will never go to court because there's no capacity to investigate. So what you then need to do is to capacitate that unit so that when someone is arrested, they know that they will be prosecuted. There will be a strong case that's built to prosecute them.
But if you're saying one of the proposals is to reduce the number, or reduce the VIP protection, especially when it comes
VIP
from a
protection
budgetary
budget, yes.
budget, yeah.
Yes.
But now, isn't it gonna affect the safety of officials that are actually depending on the VIP protection? Aren't you
No,
exposing them to more risk?
No, we are not. We are not. The unit is. They have too many resources. We believe that we can cut the fat. There's no need for a deputy minister to drive with 4 bodyguards. There's no need. You can have a driver and one protector. It should be enough. We should not be spending more time or more resources protecting politicians. More resources must go to protect ordinary people. That's our argument, and we've made this argument very clear, very sharply, to say we want to ensure that all South Africans feel safe, they feel protected, and not have the politicians that are more protected than ordinary South Africans.
And earlier we spoke about these mass shootings and vigilantism. Now, and we've seen in media, in other media reports, in especially Eastern Cape and KZN, where those mass killings are actually a serious problem. And it seems like I also know in the Western Cape, especially when it comes to gang-related issues, some police members, they say they can't go into that particular area because it's too dangerous for even them. And in a number of provinces, we've seen police stations closing down their doors and locking gates. And I'm talking from experience based on what I saw, whereby police nowadays, they actually fear criminals more than anything. Is there any form of intervention from legislation and politically that can actually reassure the police to say, in order for them to protect us, they are also protected? Because they feel they're not protected.
We believe that there's adequate legislation. There's no need to introduce new legislation. The police know when they act within the law, when their lives are in danger, they are allowed to use the force. The guns that the police carry is not a decoration. When their lives are in danger, they should use those guns. That's the message that comes from us. The laws are adequate. We don't need to introduce a new law in that regard.
And then when it comes to the freedom from fear campaign that you guys have, what role can the minister actually play to actually assist in terms of getting the campaign to actually work for this community?
So it's to provide leadership to the police and support, like we are seeing with the support of the police officials in the Northwest, Stilfontein. We need to see a lot of that. We need to see a lot of support to the men and women in blue that are doing their best to protect South Africans. And that's the message that will come from Rise Mzansi going forward. The minister is on board, and we're going to work closely with the minister to ensure that we realize a safe South Africa in our lifetime.
Because I know we don't have much time with you. You have to go back to your commitment. Tell me, what's your take about the KZN commissioner and his strategy in terms of combating crimes? Because we've seen in the stats, the man is cleaning up the province, especially the capital, Durban, as it is. What's your take about his approach?
South Africans expect the police to be tough tough on crime, tough on criminals, be at the forefront of protecting South Africans. When all is done within the laws, and then the police must act. That's what South Africans want to see. They don't want to see police officials that are retreating when criminals are taking a front line against the police and against the people of this country. The police have shown to say that they will protect and save, and we want to see police men and women protecting and saving South Africans. And if it means using the force within the law, and then they will have the support of Rise Mzansi.
And if you had to prioritize one action to tackle crime immediately, what would it be and why?
Two things: visible policing and detectives. That's what we need. We want the police out there. We don't want police just sitting in police stations. They must be out there. The people must know that the police, at any moment, you can encounter the police. That's the message that we are going to send when we speak this afternoon in Parliament.
But do you think our police are fit for their role in the community? Because we've seen with the number of recruits that have been recruited, when you look at them, not to say that we are being judgmental, you would see a truckload of police walking around with big guns, but when a crime is happening, they distance themselves.
There are a lot of good men and women in blue that are doing their best to save South Africans, and they deserve our support, and we'll continue to support them.
Okay. Mr. Gana, I know you have to go. I would have loved to carry on with this conversation even further, but because of time, I need to release you. Do you have any closing remarks for our viewers in terms of, especially from Rise Mzansi?
So we are going to a festive season now. We need to work closely and assist the police to ensure that those that are committing crime can be arrested and can be prosecuted. We need to support the work of the men and women in blue so that we can all be safe. We want to see the police in the streets patrolling, ensuring that there's no space for criminals to do their criminal acts against the law-abiding South Africans. We want to see the police using the laws to protect and save all South Africans.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Mr. Makashule Gana from the National Assembly, especially in the Rise Mzansi. And you all heard, crime is something else. Crime is very disturbing, especially now that we're going towards festive. Criminals are looking for opportunities. You need to be vigilant in terms of what you do. You need to secure your homes. And those that will be traveling, make sure that your house is well protected. And there's people that inform your neighbors to keep an eye out, because crime is something else, gents, especially when it comes to, you need to be careful. Don't just get into any fights with anyone just because you feel like Arnold Schwarzenegger or you can take on something. So let's all, as communities also, let's play a role. Let's look out for each other. Let's make sure that things are done properly. Let's communicate as communicators. And yeah, but let's be on that lookout. And we will be jumping into another interview shortly. And with that said, I'm going to take a quick break. And when I come back, I'm just trying to check my things here quick. For when I come back, we're going to be in conversation with... Yeah, we'll be in conversation Ntate Ayanda Road. I will be talking about the Voices musical concert that will be taking place this year. So without wasting time, ladies and gentlemen, don't go far. Just take a quick break, grab something to drink, and we'll be back. Let me